This is what type of 1 diabetes looks like. Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be talking about diabetes type 1. From my introduction, if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and watch it. As always, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell. That way you get notified every single time I post a new video. I want to say thank you to everybody that has been supporting me through this new journey. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it and I love you guys. So let's get to this video. Before we start and before I tell you guys what type 1 diabetes means, I'm gonna give you guys a story on how I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So I was diagnosed at age 9. That was September 1999 that I was diagnosed, so 1 month before my 10th birthday. So what I remember was that weekend we had gone to Los Angeles. We would usually go every week with my family to visit one of my uncles, and that particular day we stayed in LA a little bit later than expected. So the following day we had to go to school. When I woke up, I started feeling some pain below my belly button, really sharp pain that I couldn't get up. So my mom came in. She's all like, get ready, we're going to school. I told her I couldn't because I was feeling that pain below my belly button, and she's all like, nope, get up. You probably want to stay home to sleep, because like I said the night before, we were at LA. And I told her, no, I'm having some pain. She's all like, get up. If you feel bad, go to the nurse's station and then they'll call me to go pick you up if it's very bad. So my mom was all like, get up. So I got up and my legs felt like jello. So as soon as I got up, I fell to the ground. Right away we went to if you guys are aware, here in Orange County there's a CHOC hospital and CHOC clinics. So we went to a CHOC clinic first. At the CHOC clinic, she told the receptionist, and right away she got me in and they pricked my finger, and the medical assistant was like, I'll be right back, I'm gonna go talk to the doctor. So she went to talk to the doctor. The doctor came in. I'm not kidding you, like 2 minutes later the doctor came in, and he's all like, send this girl to the hospital, like seconds count. My mom's face like turned pale. We were at the hospital. They're like, yep, your daughter has type 1 diabetes. So what I remember, we went outside. My mom called my dad on a payphone. Yes, payphones were still around. She's all like, you better come, get off of work. Your daughter has just been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. You need to come so that you could be taught how to administer insulin. My dad got to the hospital. From that day on, I've been injecting myself insulin, and they were being taught to administer insulin in an orange. I didn't really understand what was going on at that time because I was 9 years old. So something that was weird was that before we would go on our summer vacation, we would always go to Mexico for like a month and a half. So before we would go on summer vacation, my mom would always make sure myself and my brother would always get a physical done, so that once we got back from Mexico, we would just be ready to go to school. So we had probably gone to get a physical done in June or July. Everything was fine. So when we got to Mexico, I thought I was lost. I got lost with my cousin because she told me that we were lost. So I got a susto. So then, I don't know if you guys know or believe this, but most of the Hispanic community believes that if you get a susto, you get diabetes. Or if you get a susto, te vas a enfermar. So they always make you eat like a little galletita or something sweet so that you don't get sick. So doctors here believe that it's genetic, but nobody in my family has type 1. They do have type 2, but nobody in my family has type 1. So I believe that because I got scared in Mexico and I didn't have any sweets or anything, my pancreas died. That was a little story on how I got diagnosed and what was the reason why I think I got diabetes. Now let's get to what this video is about. So what does type 1 diabetes mean? Well, type 1 diabetes, it's an increase in your blood sugars due to no insulin at all. Your pancreas doesn't work because your body attacks your pancreas to stop working. And that stops your beta cells, which are cells that produce the insulin, to stop. Symptoms of type 1 diabetes is extreme thirst, increase of hunger, dry mouth, frequent urination, unexplained weight loss, fatigue, blurry vision, heavy breathing. And kids, very important, is if they have not had bedwetting, 1 or 2 it's fine, but if they keep having bedwetting night after night after night, that's something that you need to get checked. My son is going to be 2 years old. We get checked with the trial that Chalk has for type 1 diabetes. They started at 2.5 years old. So his pediatrician already sent me everything that I need to do so that once he's 2.5, I could take him in and get tested, because it's something that if I have it based on the doctors here, my son has. The treatment that there is for type 1, insulin. That's the only treatment that there is as of right now, because the pancreas, like I said, it's dead. It doesn't produce insulin. I have to give it to myself. Also with treatment, you have to check your blood sugar 6 to 8 times a day. Make sure you exercise, you eat good, you get enough fiber as well. So eat more often. Don't eat 2 big meals a day. What I usually do is I have breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack. Complications. With diabetes, you could get kidney failure. So your kidneys stop working, and then that will go into dialysis. We don't want that. So your nerves, you have less sensations. So if you get a cut, then you won't notice it. If it's in your feet, if you don't check your feet that often, or in your hands, you won't notice the cut. And then if it gets infected and you notice it, you have to immediately get some treatment for it, some antibiotics. But if you don't notice it, you could get your either hands or feet or wherever you have that cut, it gets infected and you don't notice it, then you will get it amputated. Eyes, you will be blind. The blood vessels can erupt. Your brain, you get high blood pressure, which causes heart attack. Us as diabetes need to get checked so it doesn't become a complication. So there is one complication that is very bad, which is DKA, and it's diabetic ketoacidosis. Body produces excessive blood acids. So the only treatment for this is you have to rush to the hospital. At the hospital, they will give you treatment. It needs to be treated by a medical professional. Within several days after you go to the hospital, it will slowly come down. So your sugar, if you have DKA, your sugar is usually from 250 to 500. So that's when, if my sugar would be 250 to 500, I would have to go to the restroom, dip a urine ketone into my urine, and then it would tell me if I have DKA. And also the symptoms for DKA could be fruity breath, confusion, nausea and vomiting, abdominal pain, and fatigue. If they test your urine at the hospital, your pH would be 7.35. With no treatment, with this, like I said before, I started talking about DKA. With no treatment, it could lead into coma or death. Once we have DKA, we have to rush to the hospital and get care immediately. Care for diabetic type 1 is I need to see my endocrinologist about every 3 months or 6 months, depending on how my blood sugar levels are. Every year, I need to get my eyes checked with a retina doctor to check if there's no blood vessel damage behind my eyes. I need to get a blood test every single time I go in to see my endocrinologist. So if it's every 3 months that I see my endocrinologist, I have to get my blood a month before. And if it's every 6 months, a month before as well. I need my endocrinologist to check my feet. So what he does with my feet is with the tools that he has, he either pokes, tickles, or does something else with the feet. And he tells you every single time I touch you, let me know, to see if your sensation is still good or not. Test the doctors look into, it's called A1C. The A1C tells your doctor an average level over time of 60 to 90 days. So a normal range for a person that does not have any diabetes is 5.7 or less. Pre-diabetes is 5.7 to 6.4. And a diabetic like me, it's 6.5 or higher. So mine at the moment is 9.3. So I need to lower it down. My goal is for May 2020, when I go back, to have it a 7.3. So what I'm gonna be doing to get my goal is I'm gonna be exercising. That improves the insulin sensitivity. Eat my carbs, but the right ones, not the bad ones, which the bad ones are always like hamburger, pizza, fries. Eat more fiber. 25 grams or more is what they recommend. Eat smaller meals. Eat every 2 to 3 hours. Watch what I drink. So I love Diet Coke. I'm gonna try to decrease that and increase a little bit more water to flush my kidneys. And they say green tea is also an amazing source. It lowers your blood sugars, and then also because it is water, it flushes your kidneys. So I know it's hard sometimes because we have, like myself, I have a little one, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. Sometimes the stress could be a little bit high. I'm not saying that people that work don't have stress, but like myself, my experience, my stress level sometimes could be high. So I'm gonna try to manage it. If whenever I feel stressed, I'll go take a walk, take my son for a walk, um, or tell my husband to take care of my son, so I could just go a little bit 5-minute walk, exercise, listen to music, or read a book. Also, sleep. Try to relax before you go to sleep. Try to dim down the lights. Try to not have too much noise an hour before you go to sleep. So our routine at home before we go to sleep is we take my son a bath. Then we give him his sipping cup. He doesn't drink out of a bottle anymore. He stopped the EA. We either put a movie for him while we just lay down and relax before we go to bed. Another thing that will help lower my A1C is they said apple cider, 1 teaspoon in a glass of water, that helps lower your blood sugars. Also, if you lose weight, it increases your insulin sensitivity as well as exercising, because if you're a little bit overweight, it takes insulin a little bit more time, and then your body asks for more. Losing weight and all that, then your body is able to take in the insulin a little bit faster. And natural supplements. Take your multivitamins. GNC has great diabetic pills, like supplements, that is amazing. I would recommend that. There are two terms that we as diabetics need to know. The first one is hypoglycemia, which is when your blood sugars are lower than 70. This, your brain could die. The signs that show that your sugar is less than 70 is you get pale, you get cold, you get confused, weak, shaky, sweaty, and headaches, and you're very, very anxious. So I have a story to tell you guys. October 2017, weekend of my birthday, we did a dinner so that we could announce to my parents and my in-laws that we were expecting. So on Saturday that we had our dinner, we had carne asada, and I don't like cake. I mean, I'll eat cake if there's cake, but I don't like cake for my preference. But I love pie, so we had some pies that Saturday. Sunday was fine. We did our normal activity that we do on Sundays, and then Sunday night to Monday night, something happened there. In October, it was still hot, so we had our AC on. So my husband, because I don't recall anything that happened, but my husband says that I got up, I walked over to the AC, and I was looking for pies in the AC. So he right away got my blood glucose monitor, checked my sugar, and I had 25. Remember, lower than 70, your brain could die. I had it 25. So right away what he did was he gave me some juice. He put me into the shower. He got me out of the shower. He got everything ready, put my clothes on. That's what he said. Put my clothes on. When we got in the car, he checked my blood sugar again. I had it 65. So little by little, I was being myself again. We were in the car, and I remember I was like, wait, where are we going? Why are you in the car? Why am I in here? He's like, no, I'm taking you to the hospital. You were, don't you remember what happened? I was like, no. And he's like, we're going to pick up my mom and we're going to the hospital. I was like, okay. My mother-in-law was outside already. She had a egg and bean and cheese burrito. So once I got to her house, I checked it again, and I was 75. So I was like good now because it was a little bit over the 70. So then my husband's like, call your work, tell them that you're not gonna go in, and we're going to hospital again. And so I called my work. I told my supervisor I'm not gonna go in. This is what's happening. She said okay. So we went to a hospital. They just gave me some like juice and stuff like that so that I could get my sugar up to like at least 140. And then after that, my doctor came in. It was scary because I could have died that day. I was 13 weeks pregnant. My son could have died. So it's very dangerous. The next one is hyperglycemia. So this is when your blood sugar is higher than 115. I also had an episode of this back on December 18th of 2019, just recently. I was with my son. It was Friday. We had gone to Main Place, and he was playing with the kids in the area that they have for kids. I started feeling some shakiness, a little bit of a headache. So I was having low and high symptoms. So I was like, So then, and I had forgotten to take my blood glucose monitor with me that day. So I was like, okay, it's 12 o'clock. Maybe I need to go get some lunch. So we went upstairs. We went to the pizza place that they have there, and we were eating. 3 minutes later, I got this bad headache. So I grabbed my stuff, I grabbed my son, and we left. I got home, I checked my blood sugar, and I had it 515. So what I did is I removed my insulin site and I placed in a new one. 30 minutes later, I checked it, and I had it 430, so it was going down. So then it was like around, so I kept checking it, and it was coming down little by little. So like around 7 o'clock, my husband brought some dinner for us, and as I was eating and I was giving myself insulin, my pump said that it was not giving me any insulin. So I had to remove it, and I placed another site. So that day I had placed twice in my stomach. So the second one started working. So then throughout the night I felt good. Saturday morning we were at home cleaning, and around 4 o'clock, I started feeling bad again, and I was like in the couch and I was falling asleep. And then I checked my sugar, and I had it 530 again. I was like, oh my god, what's going on? So what I did again, I removed my side from my stomach, I placed it on my other side. 30 minutes later, it went down a little bit. So that day I placed 4 sites on my stomach. It's just cleaning my son's room, and I remember that I had the feeling of throwing up. So I was like, oh my god. I went to the restroom, I tried throwing up, and nothing. And then I looked at myself, I was pale, I was white. What scared me the most was that my lips didn't look like pink. They look a tint of bluish, purplish. So that's when I told my husband, I was like, no, we have to go get a syringe. I know I'm supposed to have syringes at home just in case my insulin pump site doesn't work, but I didn't have any. So then we went to the CVS. They didn't want to give me any syringes, so we went back home. I administered my insulin pump again, and we got it down to like 350. Meanwhile, I was administering my pump, and the 350 read on my glucose monitor. My husband had called my parents. They had came over. They had an extra syringe. I administered myself insulin with the syringe instead of my pump, and I was able to lower it down to 100. That one was very scary to me, just because the lip color, because I had those blue lips, I was pale, I had burning sensation in my chest, I had nausea and vomiting, I was urinating every 10 minutes, and it was very scary. I felt like if I was gonna die that day, like literally that I was gonna die. Throughout all the time that I've been diabetic, I have never felt how I felt when I was pregnant. And this December 18th, it was, thank God I haven't felt like that. But I think as I'm getting older, because I'll be 30, I'm not afraid to say it, I'll be 30 this year. So I think as I'm getting older, my obviously your body changes, and now I guess my body is getting a little bit more delicate. Maybe I'm gonna be keeping you guys up on this journey that I have to lower my A1C. If you guys know of anything that could help me lower it, I would really appreciate it for you guys to comment down below. Any suggestions? I'm thinking of either trying the Freestyle Libre or the Dexicom to see if I like it. I'm iffy about having another device on myself, but if that's what's gonna help me and help me live a little bit longer to see my children grow, then I'm all up for it. Just because sometimes I do forget to check my sugar, but I try to check about 6 to 8 times a day. Let me know what if you guys have used any of that. If you are type 1 diabetes, follow me. I'm gonna link my Instagram, my Snapchat, my Facebook, and I recently started doing TikTok. So I'm gonna link that down below. On my next video, I'm gonna show you how I administer my pump and what I eat in a day. Thank you for watching again this video, and I will see you guys on my next one.